4. We're live, Mr. Chairman. I yield, sir.
Pleasant good night once again to our viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad. I want to welcome you to our Belizean Affairs show number 458, 458. And it's always a pleasure to sit in the company of Mr. Leonard Brackett.
The pleasure is mine
And
too, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, sir. And we should be joined also by Mr. Uh, um, Leonard. I mean, sorry, Mr. Gregory Morrison. Sorry, and then by Gregory Brackett. So, in the interest of time, and like I say, we give thanks to all those who will view us tonight, Leonard, and will
Yes,
share
sir.
our program. Give them thanks and praise,
Yes, sir.
for that support. Um, in the interest of time, and we always start our program with a prayer, then followed by a reading, and then I'll ask Mr. Brackett to lead us in a prayer, and then followed by a reading, sir.
Yes, sir. Um, you said the reading would be. You want to tell
Yes,
me what the reading
Matthew.
was again, if you don't mind? When I
Sorry,
finish the prayer,
Matthew.
make I finish the prayer first?
Sorry, Matthew 6.
Yes, sir. Okay, but. Okay. Not just 6. Wow. That was quick. That was easy. Okay. And so I'll go ahead then and bow my head and say a short prayer, if you don't mind.
Sure, sir. Right.
Divine loving Father, thou who art the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them are, and who art our creator as well, into thy hands we commend ourselves, asking that thou would continue to have mercy upon us, our family members, friends, and loved ones, our country of Belize, and this country as well, and the rest of humanity. We pray that thou mayest help those people who are in tornadoes, who are in hurricane areas, those who are in earthquake areas and volcano eruptions. We pray also that thou must bless those people who are in war areas, who are being hurt sometimes for no justifiable reason, those who are losing limbs and lives and livelihoods. We pray that thou will be merciful unto us all, loving Father, for we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. And may thou bless this program tonight, that whatever we do or say may accrue to the best interest of our country of Belize, its people and leadership, as well as the rest of humanity. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. I'll go ahead
Thank
and
you. Thank you, Leonard, for
you're
that
welcome,
warm
sir.
prayer, sir.
I'll
Country
go ahead
needs
and
it.
I'll start my reading at
Sure, sir.
Matthew chapter 6, starting at verse 1. And it says, take heed that ye do not your alms before men, that is to say, prayer and elevate God before men and be a showpiece, in other words, to be seen of them. Otherwise, ye have not ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms or prayers to God, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their rewards. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogue and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. And that's the end of our
Thank
reading for tonight.
you.
Are you back, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Leonard, for
Okay.
that reading. And, you know, we need to just take heed, when we see these people standing on the street corners and shouting. And, you know, thank you for that reading there, Leonard.
You're welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Um, Leonard, there's a lot going on, never ending a saga of ills. It's and not only in Belize, and across the globe. Um, but again, I want to give thanks also, Leonard, a little bit on, giving thanks and praise to the Almighty because tomorrow is promised to no one.
Amen.
So give thanks and praise for the air we breathe today, and let it be fruitful. Um, as you have been noticing, my people, both at home and abroad, that you know uh, the the saga, the the corruption saga that is going on in the nation of Belize. And before I jump into that, again, I want to remind our people, Leonard, our Belizeans in Belize, that June to November, Leonard, we should know what to expect.
Yes, sir.
So prepare yourself and your loved ones. Secure your properties. Because the system is not going to do it for you. Um, it's sad to see where we're at. Again, I keep repeating it, 2026, and there is not one good hurricane shelter across the nation of Belize. So, on that note, you know, um, I guess I'm beating a dead horse because, we'll say by now, you know, people wouldn't have any problem, running inland or running to a proper hurricane shelter because it's there.
Yes, sir.
Um, you know, uh, my people, nation, taxpayers, where we at 2026. You see where the two-party system has us. And who is to blame? And who is to blame? We blame ourselves. We should blame ourselves because we keep doing the same thing over and over when these people are seeking power. Again, we keep doing the same thing over and over. Why? Because of necessity, needs. The two-party system already in a mode where they know that you know they do their very very best to keep the people poor and dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have stepped out a little up a little level, and let them know that you cannot come around me with the same crap that you did the last time. Some people are bold enough to do that and say that. But Leonard, majority of Belizeans, um, when these people are seeking their re-election and seeking power, they already know what food to bring them, Leonard.
Yes, sir.
right? I simply say it that way. What food and what drink and what goodies they need to bring these people so they can hurdle them like a bunch of cattle. As I have seen it, I've been in it, I've seen it done. Take them into the police station. After coming out, they get their little $50, their little $100, and they put in that merry little bus and disseminate them wherever they had picked them up from.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, they also give them a little plate of food, maybe a rice and beans plate, or maybe a tamales plate, or
Yes,
and
sir.
a couple of beer,
Yes, sir.
and a little music.
Yes, sir. Why am I saying that, Leonard? Because
Yeah.
it's election mode and we see it already happening,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the rainy season in Belize, repetitious cycle, they push the taxpayers, bulldozers, graders in these villages, in these streets, and thing, and what they do, they make these streets worse because after the 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 equipment passes and the road looks smooth, that white mild dust that they graded, the rain comes, and what happened? You walk in mud,
Mm-hmm.
you drive in mud. Okay, and I am not talking nothing that it's not true. So sue me if you want to. And it's a repetitious cycle. Both two-party system does the same blank, right? So, and sadly, these people have no shame. That you see that guy there, and also they know what we are doing. They already catch on to this mess that we are doing, but we don't give a hoot because the majority of the others we have them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I say this to say that as for me, I am tired of that kind of shenanigans taking place. I want to see better for my country. I want to see better streets for my country. But these hoodlums that we elect, they know the right thing what to do, but they just don't do the right thing, right? And at what expense? At the expense of the taxpayers. When that money that they wasted could be well put to use. So we say over the past 50, 60 years, most of these towns across the nation of Belize are still in mud. And these guys that you elevate to sit in the seat don't give a hoot because they already sit now. Work stop, back to square one in a hustling mode because they got to fill their pocket and they got to fill their family's pocket. They got to set them up and they got to set up a nice thing for them because they cannot tell about tomorrow. So they're not satisfied with the money the taxpayers is paying them, which is handsomely compared to $5 an hour, right? Handsomely, these guys get paid. They
And
do not get that $5 an hour
and other benefits too, Mr. Chairman.
on other benefit. You see, I'm talking about this because it's a repetitious cycle. And seems that the Leonard, the Belizean people, hasn't get it. So, and you see my people publicly, people come and they produce evidence publicly
Mm-hmm.
from the corrupted deeds and system that these people who you elect to protect and serve you keep on doing. Here is the evidence Oh no, that's not true. It's just a little typo error and then millions of dollars are typo error, Leonard. That's what that man Johnny Briseño is insinuating,
When they are
right?
caught, when they are caught, Mr. Chairman. In the
When they're,
meantime, when they are not caught,
sir.
they keep, millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yes, sir. You see, I talk about this thing because I can. I'm not afraid to talk about these things, right? We here on Belizean Affairs Show, we are not afraid to say the truth. Let them come and hang me. Let them come and jail me. Let them come and do whatever they want to do with me. As long as I speak how I feel, what I see, and how I want to say it. Do whatever you want to do with me. I am not afraid of that.
That's your
So,
constitutional right and your God-given rights, as well as your
yes,
natural rights.
sir. And when I'm out there campaigning and out there on the streets, I speak the same language. The same language. So, and the thing that really irks me is that when they, like you said, that word get caught, they uses the same taxpayer dollars to defend their guiltiness. Who does that? See, they don't give a hoot to drag you in court, Leonard, because you know what? You got to find your damn money to get representation. They don't,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what I want to say. And they are not afraid to do it, right? Although they are so damn guilty. Here is the evidence. Oh no! I'll fight you in court for that evidence, right? So who dares them? But anyway, Leonard, you see, you know, all the things that is going on, and people still hurdle, Leonard. People still hurdle around these guys. You know, that's what and they still try to justify and they still try to say, well, it's not then they throw it on the UDP. Hell, no, you shouldn't do that because the UDP is not in power. It's you, the People's United Party, that is in power, that should know better and should be doing the right thing and stop the criminal activities within the taxpayers' funds and within the the system, right? Because it's a crime, Leonard. It's a crime for what they're doing. It's a crime,
Mm-hmm.
right? Publicly, you see how they do their tendering, who gets it, and they're still going to try to defend that. That one is just a niece of the niece or a cousin of the cousin. Or no, I am not directly involved in that. How he get to bring those beef to Johnny Briseño office or to the CEO, the guy Osha. No. Right? They are different people, and I am not involved. I didn't. Right? And they try to justify all kinds of way. I when and then again, when the little man is caught, Leonard, you see what they do with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the little poor man is caught, you see what they do with them, right? And then, want to continue talk about this, ongoing saga, right? Within the government department, and then we want to talk about these audits. We want to know who are these. We already see one face already surface that is that is in the audit, that's an auditor, that is the link to Mr. Marin,
Mm-hmm.
right? No, he's going to deny that. Briseño is going to deny that, and they're going to deny that to the end. So these people set their little auditors and and you know what is going to be the outcome of that. Because a lot of them want to protect their jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they tell them, this is has to be defining, this is the way it should go, that's the way it's going to go. It's just like the bonus situation. That's the way it should be traveled. So this is the way the auditors, this is the road the auditors should travel. And this is what you got to look on, and this is what you shouldn't look on, and this is the result that I want. We're going to talk about that. And then these committees, these um committee they set up, like the Recondev committee, right? That okay, so many acreage of land or so many parcels of land. How they are selected and the process how they are selected, right? Then we want to talk about redistricting and election. How redistricting can affect the elections. We're going to talk about that because the man Johnny Briseño had promised on two or three different occasions when he is going to do redistricting, and the last one is by the end of 2026. Let's say he was going to do it. Then you heard about doing redistricting from his own mouth. It's very expensive and it's tedious, and you know uh, you got to have 2 dozen babies before that redistricting is accomplished. So, Leonard, I want to pass it over to you because these are the things that I think that is affecting our Belizeans right now, right? So you could
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
start with either of what I want to rant about. Go
Uh,
ahead, Leonard.
Thank you very much, sir. Uh, I'd like to say that as far as the redistricting is concerned, they keep giving us new dates or new timing, but they have not held fast to none of the previous timings that were given. So I don't expect them to hold fast to the latest one either, because they're a habitual bunch of liars, scofflaws, they don't abide by the laws, and scoundrels. So I will not hold my breath because, I might just die holding my breath. And there's no need for me to do that, knowing the type of people that we're dealing with. Going back as far as the issue of the auditors, them, or the audits that should be done, each government department is supposed to be audited at least once every year in terms of finding out whether or not they met compliance in regards to budgetary constraints and budgetary established guidelines and funding, and or to show where they went over budget, why, and or if they are under budget and how come. Which we have also been aware that there has been no current, but there have been current budgets put in place, all of which required additional supplemental after the fact, almost on a monthly basis, as well as other gifts, loans, and other financing that is acquired to help the government meet its obligation. Some are projected based on prior commitments, others are directed or requested to the House of Representatives for additional loan motions. As far as the audit thing is concerned, it is my belief that each government department is supposed to have at least one general audit as a minimum for the year, and if possible, two or four. That is, that at least an audit should be done on a quarterly basis on the previous quarter's uh, um, funding allocations and or funding expenditures. And that's not too hard to do because it's all being done computerized now. Okay, and all they got to do is just put in the various receipts then into the system and counter that against the expenditure ledgers. That at least all receipts or payments should be brought forward, and compare those payments to the budget allocations. There was someone in the background just now. Yeah, I think it's Mr. Let me bring him on, Mr. Chairman. I
Yes,
think
go ahead,
Mr.
Yeah.
Morrison. There's
Mr.
someone.
Morrison. Yes.
Yes, sir. Let me stop for a minute and bring him. Uh, Good night, Mr.
One,
Morrison. Uh,
Mr. Morrison, good night, sir. It's a
Good,
pleasure
e-
to have you, sir,
good evening.
again.
Good evening. It's wonderful to be with you gentlemen once again.
Okay. Where we at, Mr. Morrison? Mr. Morrison, we are at auditing right now, and then we'll jump into another matter, no? But right now we are dealing with the auditing, and you it's public right now, and I pass the floor over to Leonard. So
Okay.
right, so
Thank you.
so then after Leonard, then I will bring you in, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And good evening to everyone.
Well,
It's a pleasure being here.
thank you, Mr. Morrison. Go ahead, Leonard. Then I'll give
Good
Mr.
evening, Mr.
Morrison the floor.
Morrison, and thanks again, Mr. Chairman. And I won't make it too long, just because I guess we'll have another chance to, or another round,
Yes, sir.
to
Yes, sir.
comment on each other's input.
Yes,
I
sir.
was stipulating that the auditing process is not a difficult process because it's just a matter of entering into the various ledgers, the accounts, account numbers, account appropriation for specific expenditures, and the expended expenditures for those particular accounts as a means of um, reconciling what was budgeted, what was finally expended, and to be able to see if there was a over if there was over expenditure, which meant then that they would have had to go and acquire additional uh, um, what do they call it,
Supplementary.
supplementary. Yes, sir. Thank you. They would have had to go and acquire additional supplementary, and so you add the supplementary um, extra money along with the budgeted original budget pro forma budget expenditures, and then you come up with the final budget expenditure. You compare that to your budget. Um, um, Anyhow, you compare that to actually what is finance the under the credits for the financing of the budget against the debit of the budget expenditures, and those two numbers tell you exactly what's the variance, what's the difference. But within those budgetary constraints and each budgetary line item, you have sub items as well. So you can go from the macro level to the minor levels and figure out where these expenditures was made, who were paid for what services, and if you have a proper department that is keeping check of the materials that they receive, how much they receive, and the quality of the material that they receive. And you have people signing off, acknowledging that those quality met the requirements for which they were procured originally, or the procurement was issued. Then we could know if we're getting value for our money.
True.
But in many
Amen.
instances, as of right now, the Prime Minister can tell us, as most of us who have been paying attention to these matters would know, that we have not had a proper audit of the government um, expenditure
Department.
department, the finance department, I would say for between 10 to 15 years. So how the devils are they going to be able to say that they can go back and audit 10 years ago? It is ludicrous because those baselines in the audit has not been established. Those budgetary constraints have not been properly audited, which then means that they're either going to take our current crisis, pretend that they don't have any time for it, and spend the time that is available to go back and audit 10 years ago, which will take them probably until the next 5 years, which means then that we won't get to hear the resolution or the audited effect or corrections thereof of our current crisis until after they have finished expending time and effort on the past crisis for which the previous government was kicked out of office. So while that is good to know for a historical basis, the focus should be concentrated on the current issues and going forward, so that we don't get to repeat the same nonsense and shenanigans or ripoff that has been going on currently. That's what we are interested in,
Thank you.
and that needs to be dealt with under the present government. And the present government needs to come clean to the people and stop trying to exculpate themselves for what the previous government did as to justify what they're currently doing, because that doesn't wash. Are you back, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard. Mr. Morrison. Go,
Yes,
sir.
yes, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you covered some good points there, Mr. Leonard. Um, but what I see in this type of audit is a much more limited audit. This is a forensic audit that they need to do, in
Mm.
particular to this specific issue of how were these funds dispersed, how were the goods that whatever they were acquired, and how were they tracked, and how were the payments made? Were they legal? Was there goods provided, as you mentioned, for the services, for the funds that was dispersed? They need to then look at this storeroom, and someone needs to have documentation, requisition, and then sign off to say that these goods were received and that they were used. And then they'll have to do a look at the expenditure and then come back and say, okay, we paid so much money. Did we get the service, the goods for the service? But then we need to also understand in a deeper sense, why was the funds broken up into 1,000 payments? Why did they insist? Whoever was insisted made the invoices for the payment, and whoever agreed to making the payment, were they some reasoning that whatever reasoning they have, whatever, need to be known to these auditors and need to be explained. And they're not there to make a total judgment of it, although the auditors do come out with a conclusion. They need to say whether this particular disbursement met the conditions that the government had set up in terms of making these funds available. So then they also need to look at the process of how this whole situation came into being. Was there proper tender issued to acquire these goods? Was it made known to the public? Was it a private request that was made just to these individuals or this firm, and how it was satisfied? So that then brings into play the role of whether these goods were put out into proper tender, and whether in fact they were first broken up into these sums to avoid going into tender, to make it a public tender. Because you cannot buy 1,000 boots and break it up to avoid putting out a bid for boots when it reaches such a large valuation. So there are lots of questions that will happen, and the auditor, I believe, will need to have a great deal of responsibility in trying to address each of those items that I identified. And then they will then have to have some conclusion as to whether the process met the guidelines and where it fell short. But then this will result in some type of reporting that may end up going to turned over to the DPP for investigation, to the police and the DPP for investigation. So this is a process that will take some time. I don't know how the Prime Minister believed it could be done in 90 days. I think they could come with a preliminary report, but there's no way in my mind audit of this sort um, could be carried out by just a few people when you're talking of $9 million in one instance, and hundreds of thousands and near another 3 million in other instances. So this is a folding process that took years to plan and develop, and it will take a great deal of time to sort of sort it out and the result that get the information to the public, unless they just come up with a quick thing and says the process was wrong, or the process was legal. But if they're going to do a proper forensic audit, it will take a great deal of digging and fact finding, and a great deal of uh, finding clarity, and then also finding solutions to make sure that this process doesn't continue. So that's how I see it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Well,
Mr.
well,
Chairman?
well said there, Mr. Morrison. And I want to put this to you guys. Go ahead, Leonard.
Sorry, sir.
Before I go ahead.
Okay. Just wanted to add some additional comments on top of what I had done before, and including some of what Mr. Morrison had just alluded to.
Hmm.
I would like to say that in the first instance, the general public needs to have an idea as to how the process is supposed to work, so they can figure out and mitigate why is it then that the process has worked out the way it did eventually work out. First of all, there's nothing wrong for any Belizean who wants to be a business person, open up a business, and wants to provide services to the government, whether that Belizean be the Prime Minister, his parents, his offspring, or his other extended family members, or any other minister for that matter of fact. So up front, let me just get that cleared out, because that is not necessarily the issue as to whether it is that is nepotism, as some people will classify it, that only certain people are getting the jobs, um, and others are not. While that itself may be a part of the problem, the issue is not that Belizeans don't deserve the chance to participate in the process. It's because the issue is the process is being rigged, and that is not contemplated as being the way the process is supposed to operate, as being rigged. Before the mirrors they got in office, before the PUP in this couple of cycles now got in office, I can say under the UDP, for example, the Mira family was providing services to the government, selling vegetables from their little store. And a lot of other people were doing the same. What happened is that when the PUP came into office, they went on a wholesale operations to corner the market of government services in all the different government departments and precluded contracts to only their favorite individuals and left out others who were actually providing those services before. And as a result, they captured all of the government services to the tune of millions of dollars in a lot of different government departments. We are only talking right now about a particular department which the documents have been exposed from. But those documents are only part of the whole system of how payments are being made to all the government
Right.
departments, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So
If we were to do a forensic audit on all the different government departments, we will find that the government currently consistently has been operating with the same
so
system or shenanigans. The CEO, let me not say if it was CEO, but one of the government officials then who was trying to make excuses for the Ministry of Defense, he was stipulating that other people have figured out how to gain the system. And I agree with him that that is true. But those other people didn't figure out how to gain the system without the financial officers and the rest of the government officials knew what was going on. It was an organized process
thank
to
you.
dispossess
Thank you.
to dispossess some people of their rightful ability to be able to bid on these contracts and be able to earn a living. And they corner these markets to themselves and their own cronies. And that's where the problem lies.
Yes, gentlemen.
That should not be happening in government.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen.
Can I just add one
Mr.
thing?
Morrison and Leonard, I want to ask a question, right? We mentioned, Leonard mentioned the process and of how the audit should, be conducted, and the different, line item and debit, and what's there, what's not there, and you also, Mr. Morrison. But I ask, right? Don't you think that these names that have been flagged, that certain amount of meat went to this person and the other person, and certain goods went to certain officials, that's already been paid by the taxpayers?
Well,
How could that happen, guys? And what do you think should happen, Mr. Morrison?
well,
Because these
we
are very serious concern.
yeah, we hear a lot of whisper about those kind of things, and we know a lot of shenanigans may have taken place. But I don't think we have any evidence, and so I don't want to cloud
Yeah,
the.
there is evidence.
You,
There is
you have the
evidence. You
evidence,
haven't.
sir.
There is evidence. That's why I mentioned it, Mr.
No,
Morrison.
no, no.
There is.
When
And
I
There is
say
that's
evidence.
and
no,
that's why the
no,
prime
Right?
minister have put some people
well,
on a
well,
what you call
let
it.
me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Mhm.
Let me finish. Then you could
Yeah.
move on. To me, there's no full evidence that those things happen. We imagine and we could surmise that some of those things happen. If you guys have any evidence, share that with me. But what we do, because when the issue of trying to resolve this or trying to get a handle on this is to keep it in one atmosphere, get the government to give us the audit. The pilferage and the stealing that is done by higher ups may be another issue, right? That's another issue. That doesn't contest whether the goods was delivered or not, whether the company that was supplying the goods met the responsibility of delivering. So we need to be careful how we try to look at all this stuff, and we could, but we need to be clear with what those things are and how different they are from the point that we're trying to establish in the first instance. The first instance is to determine, did the government get the goods that they had paid for? Was it
I
of the
could answer
quality?
that by saying yes.
Let
The
me,
answer
let
Let,
me,
is
let,
yes.
let, let him let him
let me
finish,
finish. Let
Leonard,
me finish
because I
before I
want
Is
move
to
that
on.
what?
I want to prove something to Mr. Morrison. Go ahead,
Yeah,
though.
no, that's fine. So that needs to be where we need to look at this in the first instance. Then all the other conjunctural issues will also surface. But what the first establishment is, did we get the goods? Then the other point is, there's no magic about the $10,000 number other than it triggers a more scrutiny in terms of the tendering process and the acquisition that's needed, and the
Okay.
recording of it and the
Okay.
payment of it. So once we understand all that, then we could start making those type of
Yeah.
other claims that may affect the delivery and where the goods end up, because there are many instances where I've heard the farmer Jones Major saw that being upset, and someone else that was in high up in the department was kind of concerned, because it seems like when they are hearing these figures of what was acquired over the period, they believe that maybe the quality or the quantity was not there to support those pricing that they're hearing in their ears. That they spent $9 million, that they spent $3 million. Then they're questioning where what happened. Did they, and there, someone pointed out that there are people there that knows they're on duty. They know what's coming in, right? Now that they're
Okay.
hearing the pricing,
Sorry?
there's a discrepancy. There could be a possible discrepancy
Leave
between
it.
value
Okay.
and goods. And so that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to offer on that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Emerson.
Chairman,
You want to go ahead? Go,
yes, sir.
Leonard, because I
Sorry,
want to
sorry
say.
for interrupting you again, but I
Yeah.
wanted
No,
to,
go ahead.
as regards to the issue of the boots, the 15,000 boots that was procured, the people who are legitimately entitled in Belize to import those goods stipulated that the price for which those boots was acquired by the government was much more than what it was being sold for locally
Yeah.
by the vendors who actually import those items. So
Yeah.
then why was such a large markup being done under the table only to be contested by the very importers them who did not get the job, who wanted to get that job, by the way, and we would have gotten that those boots for the lesser price. So we know we got the boots them, we know we were paid for them, and we know that the people who should have provided and who was bidding on that particular thing and was pushed aside so that a favored person could get the contract to make some extra money on the side. We know those things have happened. We have the evidence, sir.
Oh, no, no, I'm not
And those are the
disputing
things
that. We
I'm
don't.
talking to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. All right. Yes.
yeah,
When I mentioned Mr. Morrison for clarity, right? That you know what's out there in the public. The investigative reporter got a hold of these invoices and line items. Line item number one, number two, number 99, number 300, number 4,000. One of those items went to the Prime Minister's office. Meat, right? Another of that item went to a CEO in the Ministry of Defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm asking is, did they pay for that out of their pocket? Because that's what the invoices, that's what the records are showing. So all I'm asking, if don't you think that these people should be held accountable or should answer to these things that should have gone to the BDF, the Ministry of Defense, or to the police kitchen, either the police kitchen or the BDF kitchen, right? For clarity, I had worked in the quartermaster department in the section of the BDF, right? And I know how these things are done, right? I know how these purchasing are done, right? But it's neither here nor there. But what I'm saying is that these guys should be held accountable, and these guys should answer. Oh, I get 1,000 pound of beef. Yes, but I paid for it. Let's see. That's all I'm saying. Mr. Prime Minister, he said they asked him the question, Mr. Morrison. But some beef went to your office. Yeah. He says, I don't know about that. And it's there,
He never knows anything.
black and white.
Well, I
No,
don't.
what the guy should have said, the damn meat went to my office and I have a receipt of the return check that I paid for it. I could see that.
But that's
But
not
to
what the
blatantly dismiss the taxpayers' goodies, right? What the hell is
Well,
wrong with this guy?
I'm hoping the
Right?
prime minister, who his brother has a ranch and stuff, is not stealing beef from the
I'm
kitchen.
he should have killed the damn cow and gave it to the BDF and to his
So
CEO,
I'm hoping
right?
that I'm hoping that's not what we're going to find out, because that would be the most disgraceful thing. So I'm hoping
No,
there's
Mr.
some.
Morrison, why this gets me is the hardcore hypocrisy. Hypocrites. That's how Rudy Wade, call them. Right? And they look right in your face and I did nothing wrong.
Well, as I said, I'm hoping the prime minister is not getting meat from the kitchen of the
uh,
But
because
anyway,
Mr. Chairman,
no,
Mr.
seriously,
Chairman,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
where I
on
want.
that point,
That's
on
not.
that point,
Let
on
me
that
finish,
sample
Mr.
report.
Brackett.
Okay,
Sorry,
go
sorry,
ahead, Mr.
sorry.
Morrison. Go ahead, go ahead. Uh-huh.
Well, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping that that's not where this investigation will lead, because that would be just the most.
yeah. And Mr. Morrison, also quickly, his buddy, Mr. Mai, is a cattle rancher too. Both of them are cattle ranchers. Mai and Mr.
Well,
Brisena, a big ranch cattle
Mine's the
rancher.
one selling. Mine's the one selling it. So I don't have an issue with that. He's selling it to the government. So the point is whether somebody is taking off the top of it. That's not. Let's not confuse the issues that we need. There are many issues and there are many things,
Yeah.
but the issue that we need to sort of get the resolution from and keep in our ears and our eyes on is whether, otherwise we get distracted with so many stuff like I am right now. The main issue is, did the government properly make requisition and purchase for these goods? Did the goods get delivered? Was the goods of the quality that it was supposed to be? Why did the government and the paymaster decided to break these invoices up along with the collusion of the person that was providing the goods into so many different invoices rather than a single invoice to cover the day or the 2 days or the week or wherever the structure they were sent in?
Thank you.
That
Thank you.
is what
Evasion,
we need to find
evasion
out.
of oversight. Evasion of oversight was the issue there. But I want to
Uh,
point out something else quickly that was brought up earlier as to the chairman's comment that the prime minister and other people may have gotten some of the goodies. I want to adjust that point because it's very necessary for people to be aware of, to be able to differentiate. And that is that each of the ministers, them, as a matter of fact, each of the members of the House of Representatives gets what is called a little subvention for their constituency support. And from that, they should be able to give the little packages or goods or whatever to their people in their community, not to themselves or any other special people. But the bottom line is that
but you're confusing
wait, wait,
something else
wait,
there.
wait,
No,
wait.
no, because
I
that
finish.
is not
Let me
that.
finish.
Let him finish, Mr.
Let me
Morrison.
finish.
Go ahead, Leonard. Go ahead.
If the prime minister got some goodies from um,
From the Mirror's
the
account.
mirrors, them,
Uh, um, um,
if those goodies were being gotten for him to give to his people in his constituency as food bags or whatever, nothing wrong with that. But it should not appear under the Ministry of Defense Lodge and Leisure. Is my point.
Exactly, exactly,
exactly.
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 Yeah,
He would
yeah.
be justified to
But
get those things from them and pay for it out of his own subvention that he's getting for his Orange Walk Central Division. I don't
yeah,
see a problem with that either because that would be
I don't
legal.
either.
no, no,
But
no.
these
Yeah,
guys are
but
running scam to such a point where they themselves don't know that they're telling on themselves and getting catch by the actions that they're doing because they think that they're being cute. Okay, so long as the millionaires get paid, who cares where the goods go? Is the impression I'm getting now. I work on multi-billion dollars projects, cost accounting and financial management issues for multi-billion dollars projects for Bechtel Corporation, for the United States government of defense. I know what the hell I'm talking about. So I'm pointing out what I'm saying. I know the rules and regulations of Belize and my country because I have to learn and know those things in order to deal with the type of political interactions that I deal with. Okay? I'm not
Thank you.
talking as somebody who's green behind the ears when I make these particular comments or I'm making these particular citations. I'm trying to give the benefit to show what's plausible. But at the same time, I'm not going to play the fool and exculpate or pretend that I'm going to make excuses for scoundrels. I have a
Thank you,
hard time being
Leonard.
able to do
Thank
that.
you. Mr. Morrison and Leonard, a while back, if we could remember, and it was publicly when they had that security a problem and hiring of a security company at the airport by
Mhm.
Johnny Briceño. Um, and there was a whole issue on that. And when these people weren't even performing their duties that they
They
were
were being paid.
hired by Johnny Briceño to do, and they were getting thousands and thousands of dollars a week. Okay, he acknowledged and he says, this time we will do the tendering process differently, right? So don't you think that now that the public should know when a tendering is put out there, who had applied and itemize and then narrow it down, show us. Well, we narrow it down to the mirrors. I'm just came into it, right? Because they did the lowest, but we want to see, but there is no paper trail, there's no evidence, but he will say that, you know what,
It should be
you know,
gazetted, sir.
right? That's what. Don't you think there should be a proper way of doing this thing, Mr. Morrison? Because
The
remember, Leonard, that
the
we are
tendering should
dealing
be.
with the taxpayers' dollars.
Yes,
Right?
but the
Remember, right?
requirement is that the
So I go
tendering
to Miss. Okay,
is
I go to you, Leonard. Go
into
ahead.
the requirement is that the tendering process goes to the gazetting process as well, and that's how the public is notified about these things
You
legally,
talk should.
lawfully.
Leonard, the word should, but
That's
it's
how it's
not done
supposed to
that
be
way, right?
done. And
Yeah.
these conjuls are trying to evade all of that. They're not even putting out the thing then for tendering. They're taking away the contract from other bona fide suppliers who used to supply before, and they're cornering the market and giving it to their one preferred people. They're not tendering for other people to participate, which is what I said earlier is the crime. Not that they, as family members,
But
are winning the tenders,
but
because if that
Leonard,
was to be true, then
Leonard,
we have no problem.
you had mentioned Leonard earlier. Let's recheck a little bit that you don't have a problem with nepotism. Is that what you were saying?
Not necessarily,
Necessarily,
not
or
necessarily as I said
explain?
it.
Or
Yet, yet, not necessarily as I said it, because that's what I said. So you're
uh-huh,
correct. To
okay.
me, to me, nepotism is not about your family winning the contract. Nepotism is when you're supposed to put it out for bid, but you don't put it out for bid, you just hand it to your family members then. That's what I have a problem with when it comes to nepotism. I don't have a problem with family members bidding and successfully winning the contract. They're all Belizeans. They deserve to eat. They deserve to earn a
Exactly.
living. But that's not what's
So,
happening.
so it's fair to say, Leonard, that that's exactly what happened within this administration,
When they came into
right?
office, that's what they came in to do.
Right.
To corner the whatever, anything that makes a little money in the government, they were taking it onto themselves privately.
And either top-notch jobs too, right?
Hmm.
Within the government,
Hmm.
right? But they claim that they had put it out there for the public to apply,
They don't want the
right?
public to know nothing that's going on.
Yeah, which had never happened, right? So, Mr. Morrison, you want to say something on the tendering? process
Okay.
a
Well,
little bit.
that's what I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There needs to be a proper process for how the tendering is administered, and there is sufficient guideline within the public service of how this is supposed to happen. It seems like they bootstrap everything, and if they did all the proper processes, and that's what I'm hoping the auditor will identify. How did they get to offer $900 million worth of contract without going through the proper public service tendering process? How did they get to pay $9.6 million in monies without having the required oversight for that type of disbursement? Those are the things that the auditor that the forensic audit needs to now uncover and find some explanation, and then see where they shortfall it, and then to see where they could place these issues as what was wrong within the system, what loopholes exist within the system that allowed it to happen, what sign off was required and was breached, the proper protocol for making sure that the proper accounting process was followed for both receipt of the items, examination, explanation of the condition, and then probably the accounting that needs to follow through to, did these goods get used in the way so that, like when a chef comes and get a requisition from the store, they got to fill out a requisition form. They don't just go into that storage and say, I'm taking 100 pound of steak today. They need to fill out a form and say, I'm removing from our storage, right, this meant this quantity of food for preparation today. And there should also be an accounting of there was if there was spoilage or if there was waste at the end of the day, so that they can do
Reconcile.
proper management of the goods that they're in custody of. So we don't know where these systems are lacking within the organization. We don't know if anyone made those type of accounting to determine where we stand. So if it doesn't exist now, it would be the responsibility of the auditor to help them develop and to maintain the proper storeroom and bookkeeping principles for all this that has gone wrong or seem to have been somehow betrayed. I know you guys are talking that probably some of the food was siphoned off and was taken to ministers, given out as lunch bags. If that is the case, then every single soldier that had complained that they were not given proper nutrition should be holding the government accountable for that behavior, because that is theft. That is real theft, and that's a crime in itself, because nothing that was delivered in that process to be used for that specific purpose that was audited and accounted for under the defense budget should be used in any other manner other than the way that was shown to have been used. So even if they used it in a good way to help their constituents, that is illegal and that is theft. So I'm hoping that that's not
Rightfully said. Thank you, Mr.
what's
Morrison.
going on in those instances.
Rightfully says
Mr. Chairman,
you just hit it. That's the way it
can
should
I make a
be done.
correction?
Go ahead.
I want to acknowledge having made a mistake earlier on a
Mhm.
misstatement earlier when I said 15,000 as regards to the boots.
1,000.
I definitely am sure that it wasn't 15,000, so I will have
Yeah,
to acknowledge that as a
mhm.
mistake. I
Yeah,
think the number was 1,500,
yeah,
Yeah,
something
which
like
would
1,500.
have
that.
been more
Yeah,
correct according to the
yeah,
number of people that we
exactly,
have in our system. 15,000 have
exactly.
been much too much for them to procure for a small size
Guys,
2,000 people that we have.
amen to that.
So
Guys,
on that, I acknowledge
Mister.
that I may have misspoken then. Not may
Yes,
have,
thank
I
you,
had
thank you
misspoken.
for that correction for the record, Mr. Morrison and Leonard. And my people. It saddens one's heart to see the amount of money that these people are talking about. right?
Siphooning. They're siphoning.
It's sad to see, guys, that you know the hospitals could have used some of these money, right, to buy medication, right, that people rightfully need and deserve, right? So for me, guys, right, it's a big hustle. It's a big hustle. They get in there and they sit in these seats, and they just try to garnish, they try to hustle, they try to pillage, and they try to squeeze from the coffers that should trickle down to the security forces, right? And they squeeze it in a manner that these security forces punish, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it says out there that this is what the security forces is getting, while in fact it's not, right? So I says that these people that should be held accountable to the
They need to go to
highest
jail.
level, right?
Just like any other
Because
criminal. They need to go to jail.
it's exactly right. It's nothing but that's a criminal act, like you said it, Mr. Morrison, and it's a criminal act, man. You know, when you have other department like with these money, if they had this money just sitting there, instead of stealing it that way, why don't you buy some medication for one of these hospitals, improve the KHMH, or help fix some good streets, and do something that will benefit the wider, the public, not benefit one family, not benefit one individual. No, these people should go to jail. That's how I feel, right? But anyway, right? We will yet to see, Mr. Morrison and Leonard, we will yet to see the outcome of this so-called independent audit, right? The so-called, like the rest of them, right? Independent Senate investigation,
Nothing
right?
will come of it.
Nothing, right? So we already see one error, Mr. Morrison and Mr. Brackett, that one of the person is related to Mr. Florencio Marin Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is the same individual that is in question, but one of the auditors is related to that person. Should that happen, guys? Mr. Morrison?
Well, I don't know. It means that if you keep that auditor, then he has to be pretty show his hands. He has to show his hands, show what he's looking at, and full disclosure on it. Because Belize is a small place. We have to remember that. And I don't know how many auditors we have, what the convenience is of have bringing someone else from a different location, what the cost will be. We don't know what we're looking at yet. But I'm thinking that if he is evidence based, if he says this is what I looked at and is clear, but then even that person is given direction by the auditor general. So the things that they're supposed to look at is going to follow a certain criteria, right? When you're doing a forensic audit of this nature, there's a certain criteria of what you're supposed to look at, and that's supposed to be transparent to everyone. Maybe even before I don't know, they don't have to publish it, but they at least at some point they
It,
need to be
it
clear.
should be published, sir, because it's a public issue and it's a public concern right now. It's a public crisis.
Well,
So it
you
ought
could,
to
but
be
I don't know
published.
what the civil service requirement is. That's was why I was heading with it. It,
Thank
it.
you.
it is good political sense to do that, and it's probably good if that young man or that first individual
And this
wants.
year is its past in-house corrective measures. It's about public affair right now.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said
Okay.
transparency.
Okay.
And the more
Um,
transparent you are on
Leonard,
it,
we have that's 20. Let's take 4 minutes to you, Leonard. Let's take 5 minutes. Leonard, go ahead.
Uh, Can I do it in sections, sir? Do
Yeah.
maybe two now or
Okay,
three, then go
okay,
back and
okay. Let me
say,
manage that.
just in
Go
case
ahead.
I need to interrupt
Yeah, go
again.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Uh, as a general concern, like I said earlier, what I believe we're looking at here is not just one particular department and what has been exposed as going on in that department and what is being so far acknowledged by those who are to be held accountable or who should have been accountable. My concern is that we're looking at something much bigger and which needs to be focused on so that we can do some corrective measures so that those extra millions of dollars can end up being in the service of the country's people, and that somehow or another a strong example is made of people who have actually connived and try to gain the system in such onerous way. Because the gentleman from the Ministry of Defense that was speaking, he is alleging that this is outsiders that has learned how to game the system. And I would venture to say that that declaration of his alone speaks volumes. How the hell outsiders are going to be able to determine how the system should operate when they're the one internally controlling the system? It doesn't make no sense, other than for collusion purposes. That is that Mr. Mira, when he was Minister of State in the Ministry of Defense, had some influence, and his family was already providing services then for the Ministry of Defense. They were able then, as it is shown in the receipts for 2023, to expand substantively more than 5 times what was procured the year before under his family's um, um, provisions. Now, I don't know that our army increased 5 times between 22 and 23. That may have mitigated or validated such a large acquisition from that one family. I know for sure that a lot of other people who used to provide some of those services that this family is now providing were cut out, were disenfranchised. They are also Belizeans. They are also entitled to bid on these things as they had been doing before and providing those things so that they can gain a living. What I do know for a fact is that the Mirrors cornered the market. And that is not only in that they are not the only one in that particular department. No, is that only that department, the only department in which all the same type of shenanigan has been going on. That's why I said if we do a forensic audit on all the different departments, you might find a few of them that maybe have they're less onerous. I mean, they're you could give them a little pass
I'll, I'll
because
come back
everywhere
to
you will
you.
find one you
I'll
good or
come
be
back with
bad.
you with that two
Are you,
more,
are
Leonard.
you, sir? Are
Mr.
you?
Morrison,
Well,
go ahead.
yeah, my big concern is that the way this whole thing came about and got broken down and is now in public discourse. We seem to be running after and chasing one corruption after another. When it's not the kidnapping and exporting of our citizens, when it's not the airport giving out contract for security that a company that has no knowledge and no training and no capability to perform the task being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, when they're buying land and paying off party supporters, it seems, in some instances, that they have no need buying when in fact the land is available for a hospital at the Belmopan uh, site for the university. When we look at all these levels of corruption that we are chasing, it tells us that there's something really going on very wrong with the system and the governance and the way the, the, the affairs of the government is being run. And I know that we need to look at this audit more holistically and more globally in terms of other departments. But I don't want us to get, if you try and do the all the government department, We'll be in
You
this
don't have
for
the
another
people,
2 or 3
you don't have the
years.
personnel, and we don't have the
You see?
personnel to do it.
Yeah, that's why I want to keep this affair and this issue narrow
The
to
prime minister
what
wants
in
us to.
fact.
Let
The
him
prime minister
finish,
wants us.
Leonard.
Yeah,
Let
he
him
wants.
finish, and I'll come back to you, Leonard.
Uh, uh,
Go ahead, Mr. Finish
so,
up, Mr. Morrison, before
You're
you
trying to take
lose
my
your
two
train of
minutes
thought.
too.
what?
I thought you're trying to take my 2 minutes too.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
I'm
Hold
sorry.
on,
So,
Leonard. Hold
so,
on. Yeah.
so, so,
Go
so
ahead, Mr. Morrison.
Please
yeah.
accept my
So,
apologies. Sir.
so we need to make sure that we understand where this issue arrived at and how we need to settle it in a way that is transparent and clear and accountable. And so I want to keep the focus on just this issue right now, just this department, right? And then once we understand what happened here, we have clear marching orders to do an audit of all the department and to hold the government accountable for all its misdeeds. And it's not just this one government here. This levels of misbehavior, and I'm sure they'll find that other governments in the past have used this
All, not,
practice,
not just other, all governments in the past. As for my
have
record,
used have used this practice. So we need to now, once we unearth it, once we expose it, once we bring it to light, we need to then find a way to make sure that this type of mischief, this type of misbehavior, this type of corruption, this type of criminality will not again surface, because we have then put in place a structure, a transparent structure for bidding, right? A
it
transparent.
is in place already,
Let
sir.
me finish,
They're just
man. Let me
evading it.
finish.
They're just evading it. It's in place
Okay.
already.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Morrison. Go ahead.
The- Yeah, I know they're invading it, but we're not following it. So we need to put a structure in place that everyone and all can say this is not the, this is bringing to the attention of the entire citizenry of the country how the government has been doing workaround in making payments, how they're making workaround to satisfy the needs of their clique in terms of bidding and acquisition of product and service to the government. So now the public has the meat of this issue. And so I'm hoping that people that are tendering now, and the Prime Minister mentioned that they're going to put a central clearinghouse for bidding and
Laughable.
stuff. Well, we can't
Laughable.
defeat that until we can't complain about that until it's in place and we see how it's working. And those does
Hold
have
on, Leonard. Hold on.
those
I'll come
does
back to
have the
you.
advantage of making it clear to everybody. It doesn't change how the process of who get accepted to be a bidder, and it doesn't get change the process of if you have the in, you have the in, right?
Thank
But
you.
it
Thank
does
you.
make it
Thank you,
clear
Mr.
that
Morrison. I'll
let
come
me
back to
finish.
you, Mr.
Let me,
Morrison, for your
no,
closing.
I want
I'll
to use
come
all
back.
my time and done.
No,
It
no,
does
man,
make
no, no. I want you. I'll come back to you, man. I'll come
okay
back.
then.
Leonard, do you want to say something? Go ahead. Take your closing 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
All I would like to see happen is that, as I stipulated earlier, all past governments, as far as the records that I have access to, as far as I'm concerned, are guilty of these same kind of shenanigans to different degrees, some more worse than others. It just so happened that this one is the current one and it's the worst of all offenders. So we need to deal with it, whether we like it or not. I have no problem auditing retrospectively all the way back as far as they want to go, way back into the Musa time when Mr. Briseño was saying to Mr. Musa, bring back some of the money we occur. Before Mr. Musa, there were other people who were pulling strings and doing all other kind of shenanigans. It's going on in. I'll, I'll be I'll be outlandish and make an outrageous statement. I'm saying that I am making an outrageous statement to the point that I don't believe that there's any government on the face of this earth where you won't find one or two or maybe a lot of different people in some instances, with their hands in the cookie jar. People go where the money is and they steal the money from where it is.
Shouldn't be that way.
But that's what they do, especially if they are the one being given the powers or the authority, you know, to lord over these financial systems. I don't think that there is a country in this world on the surface of this earth that you could look at and say, well, there's never been or never will be a person that will end up, doing something wrong. Sometimes they are found out many years after they leave the office, but it goes on. So I'm not complaining just about the fact that it goes on. I'm complaining about the fact that I would hope that in my country of Belize, somehow or another, because of the smallness of our size of population,
One more minute,
small
Leonard.
size of country,
One
and the
more minute.
smallness of our economy, and the dire situation in which we find ourselves without any proper economic means to enhance the country because of the way how these people are managing it, we could have been a lot better off today than we are currently. But I find it hard to believe that we shouldn't be better off and that we can find or have our government people, even the very same one that have been committing these crimes, to turn around and stop commit the damn crimes them and deal with us uh, ethically, efficiently, and honestly. I don't see that it's difficult for them to do that. They just choose to do otherwise. And that's my 2 minutes contribution in the conversation. So
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Leonard. Mr. Morrison, I give you 4 minutes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you. I always remember the story I was told about Santiago Castillo, and
My good friend.
he operated the Palace Theater, right? And
Pallistator.
Mr. Gibson, one of my cousins, was the doorkeeper at the palace at the time. And whenever, now and then, a really good movie comes out, um, Mr. Castillo would go to the theater himself, and he would see that there are people standing in the aisles. The aisles are filled with people, but the palace, I understand, never sells tickets
Take you
to
back in
stand.
time there, Leonard.
Huh?
It,
Take you back, Mr. Morrison, taking you
Yeah,
back in
yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
but
I
but
listen. I listen.
the Palace Theater never sells tickets to standing room individuals. So when he has standing, he knows that
Extra.
Mr. is making his share. So he'd always say, "Give me the bigger share, Gippy," right?
Uh-huh.
We know that people will do things that are wrong and illegal, and that corruption operates. In fact, I believe, I'll say this, I believe that nothing works without a level of corruption. Nothing works perfectly and well and endure without a level of corruption. It is the human nature,
It
and
should.
corruption could take different levels,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could
Yeah.
be that you favor your family, right? It could be that you're stealing. It could be that you're turning your eyes the other way when you should not.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of different levels of what leads to corruption and corruptive practices. What
We
what
just want it
we
reduced.
Yeah, what we always hope that it is a level that sustains and maintains the dignity of whatever office and portfolio you're responsible for, and that the majority of the people are getting the benefits from what the outcome of the community and society was expecting. When it gets to that point that it becomes so corrosive, that it becomes so corrupt that everything fails and nothing functions, and that the needs of the people are not met, even to the most marginal level and degree, then we know we have a problem that needs to be fixed. I think the Prime Minister should recognize that we have a problem that needs to be fixed. I am hoping that he will be bold enough to make the decisions. And I'm hoping that the audit and the forensic audit and reporting that we receive from the auditors is worthy and justified and is able to look at the issues and to find what the problems are and to make good, reasonable recommendation to fix them. And if it means that we have to go back to the House and the Parliament to make laws to make sure that certain actions are not um, can't be done, then we need to do all those things. If it needs that we need to be more clear in how we do our tendering processes, and it is clear to everyone that how the bidding and the payment processes need to be worked out, then those are the things we need to make sure that we do because it is
Thank you.
so destructive. My 4 minutes not out yet. It is so destructive to the sensitivity and the civility of the people to realize that their needs are not being met and a very few individuals are benefiting to such extravagant level. You see? So those are the concerns I have. Thank you and good
Thank
night,
you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Well put
Can I get one
together.
more
And
minute, Mr. Chairman, before you close?
uh, okay, I'll
You
give
have one more
you.
minute?
I'll give you yeah.
Okay.
Let me give you a minute then.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And then I'll use three. Go ahead.
Uh, I don't want to exculpate rascals or people who are committing wanton crimes on our impoverished society. I can't tolerate that. I can't abide that. But by the same token, these guys are the people whom the population voted for and choose to lead the country. So then, all I can say is that I hope that these leaders that we now have in place, as you said earlier, Mr. Morrison, as regards to the Prime Minister and his merry men, that all these guys could do for us, at least for the rest of this particular term, start treat the people with less criminal contempt, because that's how I classify their behavior. Criminal contempt. It's not just contempt. It's criminal because they're causing a lot of people to not being able to earn a living while they're living large, on the hog. I know that these guys are capable of better.
Thank
Okay,
you.
let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They have to steal in order to survive and get by. All I would then ask them to do is steal a little less so that some of it can be left behind so that the country can take care of its needs.
Thank you, Leonard. Thank you. We have 3 more minutes. No, 2.5 minutes. Okay. This is my little closing here. And I'll quote from one of a little word that Mr. Gregory Brackett always says. That we are living in a designer state. Right? We're living in a designer state. And to keep the poor people poor and dependent, poor and less fortunate, just keep them poor and dependent and we'll get by. We see the fifth columnists coming in the country of Belize and they get all the good treats and
Hmm.
they get everything good, right? That belongs to the Belizean people. How they get it, that's a different situation. But they get it. They get all the goodies,
Hmm.
the best land, the best care, the best jobs, and the best of everything. And then, see when these people get caught, we see how they use the very same taxpayers' dollars to defend themselves. They get caught, they catch them. Well, we'll get some good attorney, and then we'll drag this thing on, and we'll bleed the taxpayers some more,
Hmm.
right? That is what is going on. Now, you know, our constitution, guys, is under attack. It has been under attack, right? Um, do we have any rights? Our rights, human rights, is under attack, right? Our freedom is under attack,
Hmm.
right? It's so sad that you know you are watched when you speak out against corruption, against evil doings. You are the villain. They want to do all sort of things to you, right? That's what's happening in the country of Belize, right? As I speak. And now you see that, the government now who should be doing other things, they're preparing themselves for the next election that is coming, right? When our constitution says clearly that we need to do redistricting.
Mm-hmm.
Redistricting should have been done from 2012. We're in 2026. We see the lies that Mr. Johnny Briceño tell to the nation and the world when he is going to do redistricting, right? We see that playing out. So, as for me, I think their priorities right now, and he said a couple of days ago that his party is not under attack, or have to worry about anything. He's going to win the next general election, and the next election coming, which is the town and city, council election. So you see where the priority of the government is at right now. When there are grave things happening, no one wants to touch the Budna situation. Nobody wants to do the right thing in terms of, taking care of the needs of the people, the needs of the people. We see how they disrupt the transport system that the people of this nation depends on. We see how they disrupt that. They squeezing. And we see all the things that they do, guys.
So they can turn around and buy it for themselves, Mr. Chairman. That's what they're trying to do by
Yes.
with the national bus company. They want to take it over eventually. And I
All
hope
the
that works
things, yes,
when it
sir.
happens.
All the things, guys, that I see that is happening in the country is, against the poor and less fortunate, against the taxpayers. And these are the very same people that these big man that is looking for a vote again is going to come knocking at their door. The same people that they raise their little bus fee, the same people that they don't want to raise the minimum wage, right? As we had beaten that, right? The same people that is stealing the taxpayers' dollars, the same people that is doing all sorts of corrupted deals, right? That is not germane to why people elect them to protect and serve them. Against all that, right? We see, a government right now that it's a no give a damn government. That's the way how I see it, right? Um, we see how they fight people that try to take them to court to do the right thing for the people, for the nation. We see what they do with these people, right? Who does that? But anyway, I just hope and pray that you know, nothing more, comes out, in terms of publicly, you know, um,
Every week
it
something
doesn't
drops,
look,
my
it doesn't
brother.
look too nice. It doesn't look too nice for this People's United Party government right now because there are lots of things, nasty things that is surfacing. But
I'd
my
like to know.
point is,
I'd like to
But
know who is
we
going to
don't have,
jail, Mr. Chairman. Who is
we
say
don't
going
it.
have
to
a,
jail?
we don't have
Yeah.
an opposition that could take advantage and could address these issues because they're just stumbling all over themselves.
The opposition does not control the government and can't control the government.
No, stop
So,
that. Stop that.
so
I'm
what
not
I'm saying
it's
is,
not
now I'm going to
nonsense.
get to the. Give me my turn now. I'm going to
Yes.
get to the opposition. We do not have an opposition. The
We do
people
not.
of Belize do not have an opposition. You have an opposition who is opposing within themselves. Within themselves. And that speak volume. You could turn that, twist that in your brain all kinds of ways. It's so sad to see how The taxpayers' dollars are paid. They are paid a position, and we could see that they have. If private individual and people out there
They
does not
they should be
come up
paid.
with an item that is happening, they do not touch it. There's nothing going on because they're six of one and half a dozen. They're the same thing.
Well,
So who will do better? I call on all independent thinkers that is not in line with the People's United Party or the UDP. There are lots of people out there. Step up and stop being afraid. Step up. You might win an election. People might be tired. People might just be tired now. Come March. They will take their damn money, they'll take their weed, they'll take their rum, they'll take their cocaine, they'll take their barbecue, they'll take every damn thing that they usually give, and maybe just maybe turn around and vote these suckers out. That's how I feel. And vote out the UDP too. Because they are the same. That's how I feel. Leonard might not feel that way, Mr. Morrison might not feel that way.
I share
So,
your point.
Chairman,
I listen
how
to I
can I vote
listen
out
to
the
the
UDP when the UDP is not in office, sir?
No,
they still
I
have
mean vote them out off the ticket. Let me say that then. Vote them off the ballot.
You mean don't vote for them so that somebody else
Vote them, yes, yes. So
could
that's
replace
either
them?
way you want to take it.
Uh,
Both of
you know
them needs to
we know
go.
the we know the corruption. I saw an interview with the former prime
So
minister.
that's what I, Mr. America, we over time, but I was just
it's all right,
giving
it's
my
all right,
little.
it's all right, it's all right. Go ahead, man, go ahead.
All right, then we get the go ahead, Mr. Merce. That's how I feel, guys. Right, and that's
I
my
think
little.
there was
Yeah,
some
yeah.
commentary that was played by the former prime minister,
Which one of
last,
them, Mr. Merson?
Mr.
Dean
Barrow.
Barrow. Okay, huh?
Yeah, where he was talking about they asked him about corruption and did he know ministers were doing illegal stuff and things like that, and he said yes, I know, but I'll
He
tell
had
you
the, he
something.
had the two sword machete. Remember the two sharp on which side?
But then under his same administration he allowed his son to take over the billboard, the Bolido, and not
Big man
he
at BTL too.
in the time, yeah, you pay him $130,000 a month at BTL, and
I think it
still
was more
gave
than
him.
that. It was more than that.
I think well with
It
all the
was
other stuff,
much
I
more.
think
Yes,
the
yes.
It
salary,
was more than
I
that.
think
Go
the
ahead, Mr.
salary was
Merson.
$200.
Go ahead.
So we see corruption at every level, and then they
Every
try to
level.
complain about other people's corruption. But everybody is seeing that they are getting the largesse of things, and they're saying, "Where's my share? Where can I get something? How am I not getting?" And so it becomes at let's take what we can at every single level,
Yeah.
whether you are the clerk in the lands department, whether you are the clerk at the immigration department, whether you are
Everybody's
the
on the big
customs
hustle.
whether you're
Big
at the
hustle, man.
customs department,
Thank
and
you.
Yeah.
everywhere,
Thank
everywhere.
you. Thank you, Mr. Merson. I don't want to go too
Uh,
much over time. Leonard, you want a minute?
one last
Yeah,
30
last
seconds.
comment on you,
30
Leonard. Then
seconds.
I'll close out.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison, for your last comment, which validates what I had said earlier. As far as my records are concerned, all past government have mismanaged and put their finger in our pocket unnecessarily, while at the same time they are giving hundreds of millions of dollars to Mr. Ashcroft and others. And even the Prime Minister was trying to cash in on his family's behalf so that they could have gotten a little 18 extra $1 million out of the 70 odd $1 million,
Thank you.
$80 million, and for
Thank
them
you,
to give
Leonard.
another 60 odd $1 million to Mr. Ashcroft on top of
Yeah.
all the $1.5 billion to $2 billion that he
Thank you,
already
guys.
spent. What we couldn't do with that extra fund right now. I
I
yield
tell
back, Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Thank you, guys. Mr. Morrison, thank you for bracing us tonight, sir. Always a pleasure. Leonard,
Thank
thank
you,
you
sir.
for, all holding on steadfast. And it's always a pleasure to sit with you guys
Despair is not an
discussing.
option, Mr. Chairman. Despair is not an option. We
Yes,
cannot give
sir.
up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys, for putting in your input and sharing your concern about your bird country, right? Likewise, myself, call out the issues, and express how we feel about them, and we offer solution. Mr. Morrison offers solution. Leonard always offers solution. I offer solution, but we are nobody. Sometimes they answer to us, though, right, Leonard?
Every
Sometimes
once in
they
a
hear
while.
us and listen and say one thing. But anyway, Mr. Morrison, again, thank you, and for contributing in
Mr.
tonight's show.
Chairman,
And
somebody me said tell that them they say them they tell Mr. Bishop, tell that to your pa. I
yeah,
want say
that,
I want say like this. I know that the
uh-huh.
man them pa, but I want keep whopping them but as often as I could
Yeah,
and as
exactly.
necessary.
Exactly.
All I could do that give X and come back and try what me.
Exactly. I hope that this cyber bullying thing and thing they sleep on it, look at it, and modify it, because the way they have it right now,
The law is
it's not
unconstitutional.
nice.
Well,
It's
And I've been
not nice.
telling them that for a
it's
long
the
time now.
previous government. It's the previous government that actually enacted that law. It's
Enacted
not
that.
the.
Yeah.
It's not
I
the.
just
It's
hope
not
that,
this
like I
current
say,
government.
I just
It's
hope
not
that
a
they
unity
modify
government.
it,
That
right?
law was a unity
It
government
Yeah.
law.
doesn't it didn't matter
And
who
it,
initiated it. It was
no, no, no.
illegal.
I'm,
It
I'm
still
just
remain
telling you. I'm
illegal.
just telling you
Mm.
that when you say
But
we want to understand,
But
we
the
need
way
to
they have
understand.
it, guys, you're right, Mr. Morrison. The way they have it right now, it's concerning. And
Yes,
innocent people is
I'm
going
glad
to,
for
Yeah,
once.
yeah,
man. A lot of innocent people get
yeah, a
For
hurt.
lot of
once,
innocent
for once,
people.
the, for once, the attorney general seemed to have spoken up. I don't know
Yes,
why
I hope
they
that,
didn't.
yeah,
He said he believes it's unconstitutional according
yeah,
to the prime minister.
yeah.
I don't know
So
why they couldn't have realized this before they they tried to prosecute Mr.
yeah,
That
August
is
on
not
it
the
because
only law.
it's
They have a
clear.
lot of laws like that on the book that are onerous
Yeah, yeah,
and they
yeah.
people
Let's stick
yeah,
fix
with
and they
one.
don't
Let's
fix
stick with
them.
one.
yeah,
Let's stick with this one.
yeah,
Let's stick with this one.
yeah.
They they
You're
they
right,
they
Mr.
they,
Morrison.
they
This is, you know,
And when I get through fixing this one, it can be as onerous as it was before because they
oh
have no
yeah,
intention in doing
No, we
what's right.
can't say
yeah.
that. We can't
That's
say
And
the
that.
again,
problem.
We hope that
That
I want to thank
I,
our.
we hope we hope
I
that
hope I
they
live long enough, Mr. Morrison. I hope I live long enough to see when you
no
finish it. And then I will tell you, I told you so,
no
I
remember?
told you so.
So I
Like,
hope you remember this
no
program
no no
tonight.
no 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 that no
I'm
I
just messing
understand that
around.
but
I
I'm
understand
just,
that but
yeah,
I'm
I'm
just
yeah,
messing
yeah.
saying
with you.
Last point, yeah, Mr. Morrison. Go ahead quickly, yeah. Before
I'm saying that
we're kind of over.
I'm hoping they take the input of professional um, bodies, right? And they take the input of the public to address it. Because
Exactly.
we could see that this law, the way it was formulated, and the adding of politicians and all
Yeah,
those things to it,
yeah,
we know
yeah,
this law was overbearing and it was
yeah.
not intended to
It's
serve the
concerning,
purpose
guys.
of
It's very
true
yes,
cyberbullying and victims of real cyberbullying. So
it's
that's
very
all.
concerning.
Good
So
night.
we look as guys, we'll see the end result on that. We look forward to for them to modify that.
The
And for
wording,
those
the wordings
who
that
are
they put
viewing
in the,
public, we want to thank you. It's always a pleasure to be able to sit here along with Mr. Morrison and Leonard and Gregory and discuss the issues, right? And we bring it as open as we can and as truthful as we can. Some of us love the way we present our program, and some of us hate how we present our program. But that's their God-given right, guys? So we'll keep doing what we do. You know, Again, I want to say good night. And for those who will view us a little later, thank you. And please share our program. For those who watch us, please share. And I want to thank you guys again for, you know, sitting in here tonight.
thanks, Mr. Chairman, for a wonderful program tonight. And thanks, Mr. Morrison, for your lucid and
Thank you. Thank you.
very important
Very good
contributions.
job.
We want to tell people that you make an extra effort to leave your work
Oh,
and
yes. Oh,
travel from
yes.
long distance in
Oh,
order to
yes.
try and grace us with your presence. So
Thank you.
we don't take it lightly. We appreciate
Thank
it very
you.
much. God bless Belize and
Thank
Belizeans
you.
at home and abroad. We're gone.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you do a good job, Mr. Wade.